May 24th, 2025. It's another episode of your favorite show, The Very Terrible Podcast, with me, Jason.
And me, David Ayers.
He's back. Happy Saturday, right? Saturday?
Yeah.
Happy Saturday.
Memorial Day weekend, is it?
I think so. Oh, you know what the worst part is? It's a holiday, and I'm really supposed to be better about knowing, like, nobody ever knows what it's for. We always say it's barbecues and pools, and it's definitely not.
No. But, we're supposed to have Monday off. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, no. The real jobs that hold America together don't have Monday off.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be called in.
There's someone with a moisture problem somewhere.
There's always somebody with a moisture problem.
Oh, my goodness. I'd say it's been almost a month, I think, since we did this last.
I think it's been almost 2 months.
Has it really?
Yep.
We're paying for a subscription that we're definitely not getting enough use out of.
Yeah, we just gotta. Well, I've been traveling a lot for work, and I think you've did a couple of these, but in the meantime.
Yeah, but not using the program.
No.
If it's just Lori and myself sitting here, yeah, I don't use that. This is a special you and me program, and anybody else who wants to join. I got to figure out how we can let all the listeners know if they can join. That's the thing, is we have a chat box, and it doesn't
Our
do
fan
anything
base is so small, we could just bring them in.
Yeah, my dozens of fan could come in.
Yeah. Come here, friend.
Well, all right. Let's see. So you've been traveling, and where have you been traveling?
Last week I went up to St. Pete to meet with an insurance company to do some behind the curtain. I got to look behind the curtain while they're doing hurricane planning prep, so that was pretty neat. We got pulled in as a vendor to kind of, give our perspective on what they would want from a company to, still continue to receive work from them during a hurricane and be a good vendor for them. So that was pretty neat to see behind the curtain. As most things in life, you think that there's all these fancy stuff and fireworks and real fancy things going on behind the scenes, and it's just humans just trying to figure shit out. So
Really,
they did.
What was one of the most surprising things you saw during that?
They actually had an in-house meteorologist.
Really?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
They don't trust the guy that just turns on the TV every night at 6:00?
I don't think so. But, she probably just goes to Mike's weather pages and tells them what's going on and collects a paycheck.
You got me started on that guy, and I love him. He's the best.
Yeah, the drunk donkey.
Yeah, the drunk donkey. And, he has his own custom truck with computers, and it's all zipped up. And, yeah, he was storm chasing.
Yeah, I kind of don't like that part, because I liked it when he was just, at home, looking at all the data. So when the storm actually hits, he's useless to me, because he's out there, 12 Miller Lights deep, driving around in the rain.
Well, but by the time the storm hits, by looking out the window. You don't need Mike anymore to tell you what's happening.
I don't know. That was it Hurricane Ian or whatever sat on us for 6 hours.
Yeah, it did. That was a nasty. Well, the last one last year hit him where he lived. So he didn't even have to leave the house. The storm came to him, that one that hit Tampa.
It kind of hit Tampa. They came to here again. I mean, there was a couple that skirted the coast, but Milton and Helene.
Yeah, Helene was North Carolina, and then Milton was the one.
They both hit in the Panhandle area, then went up to the northeast. But then what was it?
Well, Tampa was highlighted on the one only because the hospital had the special walls. And for the life of me, I can't know what they're called, but they're in Cape Coral now. Not at the hospital though, which is weird.
The water dams.
Yeah. It's weird. There's all these new brackets and these pop-up brackets that are in the sidewalks in downtown Cape Coral, and apparently that's where they're going to go. And I went, well, good for the one building that you surrounded with it. Everyone else is still smoked.
Yep.
But Tampa got their handful, and then he didn't have to leave very far for that. But yeah, he's a hell of a resource, and I didn't really buy into it at first because I really thought it was too much hype. He's on Facebook and he does this stuff, and he's just an average guy, and I like meteorology, and I just like to talk about it. And then you start to listen to him, and you're like, oh, there's no bullshit. He's really telling you what's going on.
Yeah, I like the website. I'll just go there and it's
God, the clickable links, the whole page, clickable links.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the early 90s retro vibe.
It is. It's the MySpace of weather. Where Tom is your best friend.
Yep. And
Oh,
then,
man.
and then usually he's 3 sheets to the wind at some point, and you're like, oh, the party started.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you're up there for work, which, all right, so you're in St. Pete, though, so you had to go home every night?
Oh, that was only that trip was only one day. Then I went to a conference in Orlando for about half a week. So that wasn't too bad, And I was able to go to downtown Disney every night. So that
Oh, yeah. Now titled Disney Springs.
yeah,
Some of those Disney adults get upset if you call it the wrong name.
yeah, I'm probably living with one. She's right.
Yes, yes,
I
you
can't
are.
believe you called it that.
There's gonna be a can that comes in from the side of the room and hits you in the head.
You're such an
Disney
amateur.
Springs.
Disney
Springs.
amateur. People are gonna think I don't know what we're doing at Disney.
Exactly.
When-
No, but Disney, it's fun when you're by yourself. When I go on pension conferences, we go up to Orlando, and I always take one day, even if I'm by myself, just to walk around, have a nice meal, and you sit there and just take your time. There's nothing else. If there's nothing else to do, it's a good place.
Yeah, Disney Springs or Downtown Disney or whatever it's called this week that's a nice
It
place.
was Pleasure Island before that. I don't know. I think
like
you're old enough to
Epstein
remember
Island.
that. What's that?
Sounds like Epstein Island.
It sounds like it, but the back half of it, behind the paddle boat that's parked there, and it used to be called Pleasure Island, and it was nightclubs. So you had Cirque du Soleil, and you had the whole corner behind it, and it was all dance clubs and nightclubs, and it was called Pleasure Island. It was the adults only hangout for everybody for Disney. And then they obviously didn't make enough money, so they cashed it out for the cash cow kids that come through.
Yep, you got to get all the kids to bring all their parents' money
Yeah.
to buy ice
Yeah,
cream.
and it has the Ron John, which every Ron John has its own location stamp on it. So it's like when you go to Hooters and you got like your T-shirts and your cups that says Hooters Cape Coral, Hooters Port Charlotte, Hooters wherever. Same thing with Ron John. Bella got a T-shirt from Hooters, or no, not Hooters, Ron John Orlando, and we packed our suitcases up, and a dirty pair of sneakers was next to the T-shirt, and it made an imprint on it, and it ruined the shirt, and it broke her heart. So I got up there the last time, and I found one of the last shirts they had. It was the same one that had to say Orlando on it. I'm like, all right, I got it. So you got it. They had a good thing going. I can't bring home a Fort Myers one. It's not that special.
No, you got to get the special edition Orlando one.
Absolutely.
The I-4 eyesore.
It's there's not an answer. There's not an answer for that road except for go around it.
Yeah, or when I'm supposed to go up there once a month to go visit we have a local office up there, and for some ungodly reason, I got roped into going there once a month. And I'll just get up at 4:30 in the morning and start driving, because I would rather get up early and drive through nothing than
Yeah.
get there at 8. Even 7 is just a nightmare.
Yeah, same thing with the pension conferences. Now, as amazing as conference sounds, for anyone that's listening and watching that doesn't understand what a conference is where adults go to drink too much. So you go through and you can legally talk about business and write it all off while copious amounts of alcohol are flowing through your system. But that last night, I don't hang out with anybody, and they're like, "Oh, you're such a stick in the mud." Well, guess what? Because I-4, I'm going to get up at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm getting the hell out of Orlando before everybody else does. That's me and a handful of truckers that don't know any better. And you get the hell out of Orlando, and then that way I don't get in any trouble.
Yep, I got to get past Tampa by 7 a.m. or you're screwed.
Oh, that's right. I take 17 to get home. You take 75.
Yeah, if I get going early enough, I'll just take 75. But if you wait too long, if you wait till 8 o'clock in the morning to Tampa, then you're done there too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's not enough space. I don't know. I said there is no answer. I'm tired of looking for one. We have a trip coming up next month where we're going to go. When we take our cruises now, I'm done with Miami. I only go through Cape Canaveral, so we've got to go up, hit I-4, go over. I found a back way. Like just before you hit I-4, you come over and you go past 27 and you come down and around. It's an extra maybe 20 minutes of driving, but it's so stress-free that I'd rather go longer with less stress than shorter time with stress.
Yep.
And,
That's like, we'll get into it here in a second, but when I went to St. Augustine here to go to Rockville. Me and Steve stayed in St. Augustine, but instead of going through I-4, I just cut right through Arcadia, straight across the state, hit 95, and then went up. It took an extra, on the map it says it takes an extra 30 minutes, but I'd rather take those 30 minutes and not have to deal with Orlando.
Absolutely. You're safer. You're more relaxed. It's a more positive experience. And to be fair, if you're going somewhere where you don't have to be there at a certain time, who cares?
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. So Rockville.
Yep. 2025. Welcome to Rockville. Shit show central.
Now that was not in St. Augustine though, right?
No, that was actually Daytona International Speedway where we went for Bike Week that one year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll never forget that trip either.
Daytona's a lot of fun for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I will say I've seen more boobs in Daytona than I have seen in anywhere else on the planet.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, back when you and I went, it was a long, long time ago, and the city of Daytona cracked down on the fun. So you and I had to go outside of the city of Daytona to the Cabbage Patch and to all those different little bars and all that to go see the fun. But like the city of was hard, where at least this time it looked like the city of Daytona loosened up a little bit, and you got to have some fun where you were at.
Yeah, it was a really good time. I was actually surprised on how good of a time we actually had.
Good.
It was a 4-day rock festival. Kind of, I don't know if you'd say it's Woodstockish. There was not so many rapes and fires, I would say. But
that you know of, that you participated in.
Yeah, I did not participate.
You didn't have any of the full experience.
Debauchery. But, yeah, it was, the first day it was blazing hot. Well, all the days were blazing hot, but they took extra I think the fire department or EMS or somebody called the county and said, we're shutting this thing down if you don't do something.
Yeah.
Because there was like 30 people passed out the first day.
Mm-hmm.
They're just hauling them out on stretchers. The EMS had these little Gator side-by-sides. Those things were running faster than they could put gas in them.
Yeah.
With all these pasty-ass white people passing out in the sun.
Heat minus water plus alcohol. I mean, what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah. And, like, I'm dressed like we're going fishing in the mangroves. I've got my, breathable long-sleeve shirt with a hood on it and a hat and the buff. And I'm pouring water on my head. I'm like, I can do this. I do this all the time. It sucked a little bit, but I'm like, I'm not going to pass out. But,
right.
You see these people, there's people there that look like they're straight from Ireland,
Pasty.
Oh, yeah, pasty bastards. And they're not wearing any clothes. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, and then the women just showing up with stickers on their nipples. And I'm like, that's going to end badly.
Yeah, not for nothing. You should have had stickers on your nipples.
Yeah, I need to lose a little bit more weight before we pull that off. But we're moving in that direction.
I know. I'm really impressed. If following you on social media, and everybody can follow Dave on social media if they like, and you do a really good job of posting all the hard work you're doing, and it seems to be doing a really good job for you.
Yep, just trying not to die.
Isn't that the name of the game some days?
Yep.
I want to stay on the right side of the dirt.
Yep, that's pretty much. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to do a bodybuilding competition. I'm just trying not to die.
Yeah, absolutely.
Try to annoy the people as long as possible.
So Rockville is how many? Let's call them concerts, right? Because a band gets up, they're going to do what, a set? So 6-7 songs.
How it works is there's 5 separate stages. There's 2 main stages that are in the middle of the track that are on opposite ends of I would say turn 2 and in between turn 1 and 2 and turn 3 and 4. There's 2 big stages. Those are like your bigger bands, and then I will say this festival was set up amazing. Like whoever organized it, I'm like, it's hitting all my, tingly, manager, things.
Nice. All the OCDs were scratched too.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I was like, no, they're, the first day I'm like, man, they should have more of this, and the next day they had it there. I was like,
wow.
Oh, they're figuring this out as they go. Like the second day they brought in more cooling tents. They brought in like 20 buses that people could get on that had air conditioning.
Nice. Now, you've been to this before, I thought.
No, I've never been to Welcome to Rockville. The guy that started it, I think it's Danny Weimer or some shit like that. I think he started it. I could be wrong because the internet will correct me if I am wrong. If one of our tens of fans actually Googled it. I believe it started in Fort Myers. I think it was what was it called? It wasn't Rockville. There was another rock festival. They started in Fort Myers, and then it got too big for Fort Myers because I went to it when it was in Fort Myers. It was 2 days. And then they moved it to Miami. And then from Miami, it went to Jacksonville. And then it got too big for Jacksonville, and then they moved it to Daytona International Speedway.
I guess that's a good thing. People keep showing up. They keep having to move it to bigger venues.
Yes, and I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't anticipate that they're going to move it from Daytona. Because, there's not many bigger venues than Daytona
And
International.
there's nothing going on after February. You got between February and July, you've got motorcycles and maybe some other stuff, but there's nothing car-wise that goes on.
Yeah, everybody is complaining they want it at a cooler time of the year, but the problem is with doing concerts in the winter is that up north, no bands tour during the winter because of all the travel restrictions and, possible delays with the blizzards and the buses and the bullshit. So
Everybody's got an excuse.
Yep. So most bands travel during the summer and tour when the weather's good, and then during the winter, I would imagine they do their drugs and record their albums. So
the inaugural Welcome to Rockville was held on Mother's Day 2011. Oh, Wikipedia. Well, that's a reliable enough source. History. Let's see. At Metropolitan Park in Jacksonville, Florida. Headlined by Godsmack and somebody that hosted it, I do not know. Okay, second festival, 2012. Didn't say where it was. Expanded. Yep, just your same story.
Yep, Godsmack's former drummer was drumming, or guest drumming, I should say, for a band that was on hiatus called Snot. I'm not a big, fan of them, but it was cool to see them, and it's cool to see him up there drumming for like a smaller band. That was
Absolutely.
You got to see a bunch of collaborations and people doing stuff with other people. Back to the stage layout. There's, like I was saying, there's 5 stages. The 2 main stages, and then there was a garage stage, which is a smaller stage. When I say smaller stage, it's probably a normal stage at a normal concert.
Right.
And then they had 2 stages. I think it was Inferno and Vortex that were right next to each other, but these suckers were on the asphalt.
Ugh.
Yeah, and they're right next to each other. And then, one band would play, and then while the one band's playing, they would be setting up for the other band on the other stage. And then
That's what I was going to ask. How does the sound not overlap?
Yep, they alternate on those 2 stages. The 2 main stages, they alternate. And it was cool when the one band wasn't playing. If you're waiting for another band to play on that stage next, on the main stages, they played the other band that's playing behind you on the main screen with the audio.
Wow.
So, even if you're trying to get a good spot for the next band on that stage, you could still listen and watch the other band that's performing behind you.
Holy crap.
Yep. And in the middle, they had this octagon, 8 screens and, picnic tables and everything under a big tent where you could sit there and watch whoever's playing on one of the main stages.
Huh.
Yeah, it was.
Apparently it was full. According to this Wikipedia, which is not the most legally binding website, but the estimated attendance for your event was 230,000 over 4 days.
Yep, it broke I think it was the attendance record for welcome. They always say broken attendance record. It's like for what? For what?
Right.
I'm guessing it's for that event. Yeah, it was 230,000 people.
It goes up every year.
Holy smokes! Yeah, and it was 60. Around 60,000 people a day.
God, that's a lot of food and water and toilets and.
I will say though, we did not wait to get in. We did not wait to leave.
Huh.
Although we were, the elder folksmen there, so we showed up early and we left early. So, I'm smart enough at a concert, unless it's a band that I really, really want to see.
Yeah.
You don't wait till the last song to leave. You leave 2 songs or 3 or 4 songs before the set ends, and you hit the road. But,
Well, you're an avid concert goer. I mean, at least that's the way you portray yourself online.
yeah, I like, and not so much. I haven't been to a lot of festivals lately because 4 days on your feet for these things started like this started at 11 o'clock in the morning and it went until midnight. So you're standing on your feet that entire time. Like my feet felt like they were broken after those days.
Yeah. Holy crap. Ticket price. I mean, how is it comparable? I mean, you go to one concert, it's what, $100 to get in?
Yeah, it was. Actually, I just bought. Me and the wife have like 4 or 5 concerts coming up. So I actually bought tickets this week for an event, and it was at Mid Florida Credit Amphitheater. But we bought pre-sale.
Outside. Ugh.
Yeah, we bought pre-sale tickets, and they were like $240 a piece.
Oh, God, that hurts.
Yeah,
that hurts my wallet.
Rockville was about $500 each.
But that's with that many bands. See,
Yep.
that's a value.
Yeah, 100. There's 150 bands there, but you can't see 150 bands. It's just
Right.
not physically possible.
Correct.
You could see maybe, I would say, if you're like booking it everywhere, you could see maybe 50, 60 bands, which I think is a hell of a value.
Yeah.
The people watching is worth price of admission, And I will say, like, I've been to a lot of festivals where like people are angry, people are fighting, like, and it was super hot, but everybody was getting along. I was like, holy shit! Like I believe in humanity again.
That's really great.
I was, it was fun. I will say.
Huh.
The only thing
That is awesome.
the only thing that really I would say was like a downside was the parking. It's $50 a day to park.
Yeah, and where? Like, is it the track parking?
Yeah, right in front of the track was the parking.
How far away was your hotel?
This is another thing is like we kind of booked late in the game because Steve had his health stuff going on, and I was like, hey, dude,
Yeah.
I was like, when you get through whatever your treatments and whatever, I was like, let's go to a concert or something. Let's go to dinner, and Steve's going to be a bear. He's going to be a grizzly.
Oh, absolutely.
So he's like, let's do this 4-day festival. And I was like, I'm not going to say no.
No, you can't.
So, but at this point, I think actually tickets go on sale for the next one next year in like 2 months.
Oh, okay.
So, with that said, we were kind of late in the game. We couldn't find any hotels right nearby. So we had Steve had a timeshare point. I think he has a timeshare, and I guess it's like points where you can stay at different places.
Yeah.
Miss Erin, she booked us a place at World Golf, some World Golf Resort place in St. Augustine. Super nice place. Granted, we didn't spend much time there. But I was like, man, we're an hour away. This is kind of weird. Driving an hour to me isn't a big deal. I used to travel like that at work all the time, so it doesn't bother me. But there was like 20 people in the same building we were at doing the same exact thing.
Huh.
So I was like, okay, we don't feel left out. And then there's a Buc-ee's like within a quarter mile of where we stand. So every morning we got up, we went to Buc-ee's, got us some Buc-ee's stuff.
Everyone loves Buc-ee's. I have not found one person yet who doesn't like, besides the people who live in Charlotte County who are mad about it coming in.
Yeah,
But
well, everybody's mad in Charlotte
loves.
County because they live in Charlotte County because their lives are miserable.
Our beaches are gone because of a hurricane last year, and they don't want no Buc-ee's.
We don't have any fishing piers. We don't have this. We don't have, you don't want this. You don't want that. But then you bitch that there's nothing to do. Whatever.
I watched it on the news, and granted, you're getting the news version of it, but the old people were bitching about Buc-ee's, and I'm like, none of them live next to 75, and that's where Buc-ee's is going to go. It's not even like they're not putting Buc-ee's on 41 in the middle of town. They're going to put it off of 75 where you can get in and get out.
Yep, they usually put Buc-ee's in a smaller town, off the interstate, and I don't care what you say. Like, if you're in any sort of management of business, you walk in there and you're like, okay, these people have their shit together.
Yeah.
Like it's not gas station prices where, you know, a gallon of milk is $5. It's cheaper than Walmart.
Really?
Yeah. Like Steve bought like 15 gallons of DEF fluid for his diesel truck because it was cheaper than, you know, wherever he normally buys it.
Holy crap. That's excellent.
Yep.
And I said I guess they put the wages right on the gas pumps. Like, if you want to work here, look at our wages. Here's what you're getting.
Yep. They pay very well, but they're very strict with employees. I looked into it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, maybe I'll just go work at Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
And at the time, we didn't have one. Hey, we're getting one. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. The opportunity is afoot.
I'll go be a cashier at Buc-ee's. Screw them.
I think they're paying like $20 an hour. At least that's the way the little thing read that I saw.
I think it's more than that if you got a pulse.
Oh. In the late 1990s, you and I were in retail management. We used to be relative. Bring us back.
Yeah. But they're very strict. If like they do not allow you to have your phone on you. If they catch you looking at your phone one time, there's no warning, there's no nothing, you're fired.
That should be really great for people with pregnant spouses.
Yeah.
The babies do. I'm sorry, the cartoon beaver says I must go to work right now.
When you get paid $30 an hour to work at a gas station, so they can call the
Everything's
office.
a trade-off, right? Everything's a trade-off.
Yep. But yeah, even at Buc-ee's there was, you know, every morning there's 20 people, you know, you could tell they're concert rock people going to the concert. I'm like, okay, I don't feel so bad for staying this far away.
Jeez, that's good. And well, and then so yeah, and you had another adventure while you were out there. So you're in St. Augustine.
Yep.
You have then what turned out to be a day for yourself, and you had an amazing day in St. Augustine, a place that I've always wanted to see.
Absolutely. Me and Ashley went there for our honeymoon. I love St. If there's anywhere else I'd move, it would be there. I know I wouldn't want to afford to live there because I'd imagine it's very expensive.
It's very touristy, it looks like.
It is touristy. There's tons of history there. There's tons of cool things to do. A lot of good restaurants, things like that. But our buddy Steve, when he booked this, he didn't realize that his son was graduating high school that day. So Steve's Father of the Year. He turned around, drove 5 hours home, attended his kid's graduation, and turned around and drove 5 hours back.
Oh my gosh!
Yep.
Wow.
I was like, dude, why don't you just get up get up really early in the morning and drive over? He's like, nope, I'm coming back tonight. I was like, dude, you're a trooper.
He must be feeling good. That's great news, though. He means he must be feeling okay.
Steve is doing great.
That is excellent.
As far as I'm aware, you know, I didn't want to grill him too much, you know, because wanted to keep things fun.
Yeah, on the up and up.
But yeah, that's the thing about like having friends like that is you cannot hang out for 10 years. Not that we haven't hung out in 10 years, but you know, you could take a break from hanging out and you get back together and you just start back. You know, there's almost no time lost. You're just back to do it. You know, Steve's being Steve. You know,
absolutely. And there was something I heard years ago. It was the thing with guys is that, yeah, you start a friendship, but your friendship always reverts back to when you first met. So you could hang out for 10 years, have 10 years off, and then meet back, and you will revert back to the very first day you met, way, way back when.
Yeah, the first day I met Steve was in your living room playing some sort of wrestling video game, I think on the Wii, and he wanted to fight me because I sucked at it.
No, it was Nintendo 64.
Yeah,
it was
some sort of old system.
Yeah.
He's like, you suck at this. I was like, and I was like, yes. And then,
well, I know, but it's the same way with our friendship. I mean, you made fun of me when I got to the Winn-Dixie store, and you ganged up everybody against me. But now look at us, we're best friends.
Yeah, you backed in your purple whatever that.
Purple Cavalier.
Cavaqueer.
Yeah. Well, I think what happened with that, because I had a Pontiac Sunbird when I moved to Florida that didn't have air conditioning. So you can only imagine that doesn't last past the first summer. So, yeah, though it'd been very gangster up in New York, it didn't fly down here with no air conditioning. So then it had, which I didn't understand at the time. And to be fair, I really don't understand it. You would actually know more than I would. The motor mounts were cracked, and they were welded back together. So it had been into an accident before I bought it. and somehow it cracked the motor mounts. And when they put it back on, it wasn't perfectly leveled or whatever. So it always had problems. It was cool to look at, but it always had this thing where, guess what? I'm going to die any minute. We just don't know when. So
That's like my race car, Susan. Before I got her, Susan, the lady who drove that car, she hit everything in Cape Coral. Like there wasn't a pole, a curb, a rock. That lady hit everything with that car.
nice.
So I'm dealing with that to this day. But
Yeah, yeah. And that's how I ended up with the Purple Cavalier, because I had no money, no credit, and a broken ass car with no air conditioning. And it was, I think it's called Bill Buck Chevrolet. Isn't that the one that's in Venice?
that sounds familiar. I don't know if that's
It's wherever the Chevy dealer is on 41 and 776 in Venice.
yeah.
It's whatever that guy is. And he had one sitting on the lot. It was used, and it was a standard shift, which is what I wanted. So I ended up with that thing, and it was definitely the lady killer. Nobody was interested in being friends with a guy with a Purple Cavalier, but you always found it in the parking lot. You never had to look around for your car because you knew it was the purple one.
Yeah, I was like, who's got the purple car that's backed into the spot? They're like, that's the new manager. I'm like, yeah. Fuck
I
that
still
guy.
back into every parking spot to this day. I
Hey,
will always.
I
back
always
into
busted your balls about that, but now I do the same shit.
It's so efficient.
Yeah.
How does everybody not do that?
Yeah,
It's so much easier to back in.
I was telling Ashley that because I've got her backing into the driveway now. And I was like, once you get used to it, it's like it's the superior way to park.
It is. You start your day by moving forward. That's
Yeah.
the whole point. We were going to move forward throughout the day.
Yeah, you're already backed in and you're primed, ready to leave. You're like that sprinter at the Olympics in the starting blocks.
There you go.
You know, you're
See?
primed and ready to rock.
So I was more of a visionary.
Yeah. Yep.
But see how it all ended up? We ended up just fine.
Yep. But yeah, we had me and Steve had a great time. 4 days at Welcome to Rockville. You know, got to see. I think I Prevail. I never really listened to them much a little bit before then, but I think they were like the best performing band there. And my favorite band, Trivium, was there. Killswitch Engage, Bullet for My Valentine. I got to see Linkin Park with their new female singer, which was odd.
That's a big to do on the radio stations that like people talk about it. They're like they say, not my Linkin Park.
Yeah, people were very divided. Like after like 2 or 3 songs, like I'd say a good 30% of the crowd was like, "Yeah, I've seen enough. I'm going home."
Wow. Huh.
But I mean,
Well,
you got 60,000 people there, so there's still a lot of people there watching.
Sure. Now,
Yeah.
I haven't heard or seen any of it. Is she trying to sing the original songs with her voice?
Yes, and I will say,
Oh.
like the new stuff that they put out with her sounds very, very good because it's her songs, it's her voice. You know, you've never heard anyone else sing those songs other than her, and they sound good.
Mm-hmm.
But the songs that she tries to sing of Chester's, she just doesn't have the power to do what he did in those songs. You know, and it's no discredit to her. She's not him. So
No, nobody's him. I
No.
think that's the shame of it.
yeah, and who's to tell those guys that they have to sit at home for the rest of their lives and not tour because he decided to end his life.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of these bands, I mean, even through attrition, I mean, everybody gets old, and they get old and they die off, and you've got. I mean, there are a couple of bands right now just running with one of the original members. Everyone else is dead, and they're like, "What?" Or hell, the Beatles, for Christ's sakes, is it's the one guy, McCartney, right? Paul McCartney's the last one left. Everyone else is dead, so it's the Beatles. Well, it's
It's the Beatle.
not. It's the Beatle plus friends. Hashtag or asterisk plus friends.
Yep. Yeah, like you said, I skipped the one day. Steve had to go see his kid graduate. Kudos to
He
him.
gets to. He doesn't have to. He gets to. There's a difference. You got to keep the mindset.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, like I said, if he's coming off of Steve's family tree, he's graduating. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Big accomplishment for Mr. Steve and his family.
Now, I don't remember. I honestly think I gave him to Aaron. It was the you bought the boys savings bonds when they were born.
Yeah.
And that would be 18 years ago now. And then I held them in my safe for a long time, and I'm pretty sure I gave them to Aaron a little while back. But
Yeah.
it was like you better hang on to these because I'm going to lose shit over the years. So
Yeah, my grandparents on my dad's side did that when I was a kid. Like every Christmas, birthday, special event, you got a savings bond.
Yep.
And then
It was a way to give a gift at half the price.
yeah, and then when I became an adult, that was the way I was able to afford to move out of my house.
Yeah, and then all the ones you bought for Bella, we still have.
Cool.
And then things you forget about them, and that's the beauty of it. You forget about it, and then you go back afterwards, after the 15, 20, 30 years, whatever the duration you bought for was, and you go back and you're like, and it keeps accruing interest. Like some of those will just keep going.
Yeah.
So like, I had some when I was a kid. I just never thought about it. Just left them in the safe. And then after we bought this house, which was 2006, I think I went in. I'm like, yeah, it was 1.5 times the face value.
That's awesome.
So it was pretty good.
So when
But the old U.S. government that hasn't quite defaulted yet.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see how
Shit's
that
on
goes.
sale. Get
Yep.
the buy-in.
We got lame duck Trump. That's becoming very entertaining. I'll say at the minimum.
At the very minimum, I'm telling you, I don't get worried about it though, and I think you and I have been investing long enough, and where
I
it's
don't
like
give a shit.
I don't care. If it's on sale, I'm going to go buy more. It's all right.
Yeah, I wrote that down as a topic for us to talk about. But yeah, over the past month, the market's gone up 10%, almost like back to where it was before all these fears of tariffs and all the stuff.
Yeah,
So,
it's almost. I got to tell you, it feels like it's scripted. It really does. It's like, hey guys, I'm going to start this story. It's going to be about tariffs. Everyone's going to get mad. Everyone's going to sell, and now you and your buddies can go in and go shopping.
Yep, it's almost like they know what they're doing.
Almost like almost like they're smarter than us. Go
Yep.
figure.
But I didn't panic. I didn't sell anything. I'm like, whatever it is, what it is. Like you said, if it all goes down to zero, we're all trading goats anyways, and I don't have any goats.
Yeah, it does. There you go. And we're all in the same boat. It's all a big bullshit story. We all bought into it. We all agree. Like, yeah, okay, it's good. And then here we are.
Yep. When Steve went back to, I think Cape Coral, Pine Island, or wherever his kid goes to school. Yeah, I went to St. Augustine. I did there's like a company there that does like artisan chocolates. So we did a tour there during our honeymoon. So I went back there and did another tour. It was me and one other couple. It was,
Oh, you were the third wheel on their like romantic evening.
oh yeah.
Could I just say to watch you guys eat chocolates
Yeah.
together?
I'll feed it to you guys. Baby bird.
With my toes.
Then after that, I went to. I was totally tourist mode for the day. Then I went over to their. Been into bourbon lately, so I went over to their St. Augustine bourbon company.
Those pictures were cool.
Went over there and did the bottle your own experience. So you get to go, take your bottle, fill it up with bourbon. I mean, and then I did the tasting tour where you get to taste like I think 4 or 5 different bourbons that they make, and then they show you how they make it. It's it looks cool. It's fun to experience, but it's a very tiny facility. It's only like one, maybe 5 to 10,000 square foot warehouse.
It sounds like. Have you been to Wicked Dolphin down here?
I have not. I've been to Siesta Key Rum up in Sarasota.
Okay.
I think they're very similar. And actually, Siesta Key was bigger than St. Augustine bourbon. So, but St. Augustine, they do, they also do vodka, gin, because when you start a bourbon company, bourbon takes at least a minimum of 3 years before you can sell
Yeah,
anything.
that's time. You need time on that.
And preferably more time. So they started selling vodka and gin just to get product out the door. But their bourbon, I'm not even though I bought that expensive bottle that,
But it has your name on it. You signed it.
yeah, I got to sign it and do it was cool. I got to taste the actual stuff that was in the bottle without opening it. So
That's
was cool.
nice. Yeah.
But I will say it's very, it almost tastes, it's, I've never tasted any bourbon that tastes like that. Most bourbon is made in Tennessee, Kentucky, colder climates. I think the Florida heat does something weird. There's also weird stuff with Texas bourbon. the hot climates, you gotta. It could go. I think it goes bad. Goes bad really fast because all the
That's
heat.
weird.
It
Yeah.
because during the winter the bourbon contracts and comes out of the wood, and then when it heats up again, it goes back in.
Oh.
In Florida, you don't really have much of that in and out. It's
Right.
mostly in.
Oh,
So
that's worse.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's ever going to be like a,
Well, now we got to go find a Minnesota bourbon to offset it.
well, if you think about it, you've got like that's why Crown Royal is in up in Canada, and it's aged for 20 years
Yeah, it takes that long.
because it's so cold up there. It takes so long to get flavor in that spirit when it's sitting in a barrel. So yeah, I got to go to St. Augustine Distillery, do that whole tour and that experience. That was really cool. So then after that, they've got a restaurant it's connected to the distillery, but it's not affiliated to the distillery. I went up there and had dinner. And then after that, I went and did a ghost tour of St. Augustine by myself. I mean, I was with a group.
Was it more spooky because you were by yourself?
I will say there was people on the tour, a bunch of old cougs, but yeah, some super duper rich old chicks.
Hey, they're looking for a sugar baby for the night.
Yeah. Too bad I'm taken.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah. Sorry, ladies.
Yeah. Sorry, ladies. He's off the market. You missed your chance.
Yeah.
You missed your chance.
About 10 years ago.
Oh my goodness. So I'm trying to get the young lady who's coughing out in the other room to bring me a beer.
Well, if it's any consolation prize, I can't hear it.
I know. Well, that's actually pretty good.
So you're going to call her live on air.
We're gonna call. Yeah. Well, recorded live. Yeah. And she has no voice, so this should be good.
So you're going to get a contaminated beer.
Oh, she's not even answering. The phone's probably not even with her.
How's a teenager not have their phone?
It's probably already dead. All right. Well, we have to go to the other one. Let's see.
What do you mean the other one?
Well, Lori.
Oh, the other human. I thought she had multiple devices.
No, she does. But I don't know how Apple works. There's an iPad that hooks to the iPhone. Oh, here we go. Hang on. You're live on the air. Oops. Oh, hang on. Let's see. That. Why is it not coming through? Darn it. Oh, you know why? Hang on 1 second. I bet you I could do this. Watch this work. This is the miracle of the Very Terrible Podcast. We do it live.
F it, we'll do it live.
F it, we'll do it live. Could you bring me a beer, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was funny. I heard you calling someone, and I was like, I was like, who's he calling?
See, she's whispering because she has no voice.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, and I can't. Oh, here it is. Here, BTA 2. Let's see if this works.
You want some brownies?
No brownies. Yes, beer.
Yeah, bring me some brownies.
I know she made her own. She made brownies. Oh, there she is. Now you're on the show. Oh my God, that was really loud.
Some medicinal brownies.
Okay. Oh, and she hung up on us, ladies and gentlemen. She hung up on us. Oh yeah, the echoes. She's so smart. She goes, I can't come in there with that. It'll echo.
It's almost like she's been on the show
Thank you
before.
very much. What's that?
It's almost like she's been on the show before.
It's almost some of the best episodes we've ever had her on it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all in good time. Maybe she'll be the next big thing. She'll be the next Howard Stern. She needed a little bit of a help from her dad and Uncle Dave to get her off the ground.
Yeah. How's everything? I know I'm in a terrific lead on the 2025
Oh, my aching ass. You aren't
Death
kidding.
Pool update.
Oh, my God. The Death Pool. You are running away with it with a 2-0-0 lead.
Yeah, and it's about to be 3-0.
No, I think Bella's got Biden.
Yeah. Oh, she does?
Yeah, I think Bella's got Biden.
Yeah, but he's got
He's got advanced polyps in his ass, buddy. He's
yeah,
not
it's
looking good.
metastasized to his bones.
And his bones. That's not... I mean, either way, I'm still losing by a lot. And I have really good picks.
Yeah, but
Yeah, Bella's got Joe Biden.
I don't know. I mean, that's probably treatable for a while. Maybe. I mean, I'd imagine he's gonna get the best treatment.
Yeah, he'll
available.
get the best help available. I guess then the tinfoil hat theories are great. He was sick the whole time, and he's not supposed to be XYZ. And they worked on him. He almost died on Air Force One.
They're like, in this one speech, he said that he had cancer. I'm like, in half the speeches, he didn't even know where he was at.
Who are you
like,
people, and where's my horse?
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Exactly.
Like,
Man, and I'm so mad because I've got such good picks. I really have really quality selections, and none of these sons of bitches are dying.
Yoko Ono is on her way out.
She's in Sarasota, isn't she?
No, as far as I'm aware, she's in some sort of New
Oh
York.
no, upstate New York.
Upstate
Never
New
mind.
York.
Wrong home of mine. Yeah, yeah.
600-acre retreat.
Catskill Mountains.
Yep, she's it says her family
The woman
says
who
she's
destroyed the
living out
Beatles.
her final days.
Yep, the woman that destroyed the Beatles.
And Mitch McConnell is a living turtle.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's, before the episode I tried to, go through I went through my people. I didn't have enough time to go through everybody else's.
No, it would take too much work.
But I don't know if you went through your list, but
Not at all.
way to prep for the show, Spinner.
It's amateur hour horse piss at its finest.
Yeah, I'm over here taking notes and shit.
Well, I mean, a lot of mine, I feel very confident when mine die, they will make headlines.
Yeah, the problem is I don't really watch the news. My wife's usually like, "Did you hear the Pope died?" I'm like, "No," but
I was so heartbroken over George Wendt dying. And the weird thing is about this, right? George Wendt, Norm from Cheers. I was confident in my heart, Dave. I thought I was going to meet him in my lifetime. I'm like, I'm going to meet Norm. It's going to happen. It has to happen. This is going to. Now it's not going to happen. For whatever reason, he stuck out as a throw. I'm like, I know I'm going to run into this guy somewhere in Florida. He's going to be on vacation. I'm going to bump into him. Closest I got was Stuttering John.
Yep, that's not nearly as cool.
No, not at all.
Because Stuttering John wants just to borrow your lawn chairs and $50 for
Does.
pizza.
I mean, honest to God, I could, in theory, not that I'm going to, but I could, I have his phone number. I could call him, and he'd probably answer, not knowing what the number is.
Yeah, then he'd ask you for a gift card to
Hey,
Applebee's.
Jason, really quick, could you come over and spackle my drywall?
Yeah,
His rats eating my furniture.
I've got 2 girls coming over. I need to borrow a lawn chair.
Some lawn chairs. And I said, I've told you that story, but I was one yes away from being right in the thick of it. I would have been hanging out with Andy Dick's, for some reason, female fiance, another girl from Miami, and Stuttering John in his house had I just given him 2 lawn chairs. The time travel Jason Spinner would have been very mad, as I would have been back in time to the 90s and went, we could hang out with him, and I didn't.
Yeah. Yep, you could have got secondhand syphilis.
I could have. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. It's really sad. It is really sad. I mean, but he told the story to us all at the bar. I mean, Howard threw him away like trash. All of them. He was only allowed to keep Robin. I mean, Jackie Martling was gone. Stuttering John was gone. All of them. They're all just separated out, and they had to go their own way because Cirrus, or whatever it is, XM or Cirrus, came in and bought Howard, and they went, you can take 1, maybe 2 people with you. And of course, he picks Robin, which is the logical choice.
Well, he
picked-
kept the producer guy, right? Baba Booey?
I think it was. I don't think he kept Gary. No.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I haven't
Did he?
listened recently.
No, I haven't
But I
either
can't
because he got
imagine
way
they
too
would-
political.
Yeah. It's weird. He
But
went
now
from being like a rebel to being like part of, the establishment, I would say.
Yeah.
Like he went from when he came out, remember he did what was the award ceremony he did, and he came out like rappelled in with his ass chaps on. And,
Yeah. That
You know-
wasn't the MTV Awards. It was.
I don't know what it was, but I was like,
But that was when but remember, at the same time, he was going through the divorce. His book came out. Private Parts came out, the movie, all that stuff. So he knew where he was. It was like, this is it. This is his moment of 15 minutes. Even more than his whole life has been his 15 minutes. That was it. And yeah, he came out with the assless chaps and falling from the sky and doing all of his stuff. And now it's almost, it's scary old Jewish guy. I mean, he's just like, yeah, it's just so
Yeah.
political and so off to the side.
Yeah, I haven't even listened in so many years, and I used to listen to him daily. And I think peak radio was I would listen to him in the morning, and then there was Monsters of the Midday,
Yep, Russ Rollins.
and then there was Bubba the Love Sponge would do a morning show, and he would
Yep.
do an afternoon show for Howard on XM.
Yes.
That was peak radio of my life.
Did you watch? Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to look it up. On I think it was Netflix. It was Netflix or Hulu. Something of the '90s, and they did like a 3-episode series on '90s radio.
I didn't
Buddy.
see that.
Yeah. Hang on a second. That
I would
should
say
be-
that time frame would have been 2004 to 2008 ish. That's just a wild guess, not 100%. If one of our tens of fans Googles that area, but yeah, that was prime radio for me.
Gosh, I will find it and have to send it to you. All I know is it came up. Mike Calta was talking about it one morning, so I go and I look it up, and it's only 3 episodes, and it's called something about Dark Side of the '90s. Here it is. It's on Hulu. It's called Dark Side of the '90s, and it goes through just a bunch of different pieces of our history. 3 episodes were on radio, and then how the radio war took off. It was the greatest thing since college football.
Yeah,
It was amazing.
because Howard would have radio wars with people, and I think
Yeah.
Bubba, I think seen that playbook and was having a war with Mike Calta, and then it was,
Mike used to work for Bubba.
yep, he was like an
Right.
intern for Bubba,
Yeah.
and then essentially took his job, and
Yeah.
then there was another there was another guy that did political talk radio and another morning radio show there that he was, every MJ and BJ.
Yes, MJ and BJ. And MJ and BJ started on a boat.
On a boat.
They were on a boat in Tampa Bay broadcasting from a boat before they got into a studio. That's how they started. Yeah.
Yeah, he was going to battle with them, and every day it was just kind of like while I'm driving around, working on people's houses, I would get a little glimpse of this little, drama that was unfolding. So
MJ is still on. I keep getting something that comes up in my ticker only because of all the radio stuff I do.
I don't listen to a ton of terrestrial radio anymore, but last I knew he was doing like a political AM deal. I don't even know if they're still doing AM radio.
Does he need a studio in Gainesville? I know somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. If anybody's looking for a radio station, we have some friends that have a station available in Gainesville, Florida.
Huh.
And I think they have a big, they got a big ass tower, and what do they call it? A flamethrower. I think that's the radio term.
I think maybe that's what we'll do this year coming up. You and I will take a weekend up there, and if we can get the green light from the in-laws to let us go in there and just touch things.
I can
We'll have-
go in anytime I want.
Really?
I've been in there,
We
but
could do this live
it's
on the air.
it's very old. I think I sent you pictures. It's antiquated.
It's like WKRP in Cincinnati. Yeah.
It's like going in a time capsule.
Yeah. Yep.
They
Now,
got,
are you old enough to remember WKRP in Cincinnati?
no.
It was a sitcom, I think it was a weekday sitcom on NBC. And it was a Cincinnati radio station. It was a comedy show. It was like The Office, but Cincinnati radio instead of a paper mill in Scranton.
The only non-local radio stations I remember, there was some stuff in Chicago that would get piped out to other places.
Syndicated programming,
Yep.
yeah.
And then there was a few places in New York that would get piped out to other places. Other than that, I think there was Opie and Anthony.
Opie and Anthony were on that 90s show.
Okay.
And all the trouble and all the stuff they got into was it was over the top.
Yeah, they had a lot of comedians on as well. I think they've had Mike Calta, Joe Rogan, all those fellas on
It all intertwines. It really does. Because at the end of the day, right? I mean, it's all the same. You might want a fake fight and all this other stuff, but it's like you said, terrestrial radio, where's it going? Probably not up. So what are you going to do? You're going to help each other out and try to just keep this spiel going as long as you can.
Yeah, I think eventually it's just going to be all just regurgitated iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
Just to fill the airwaves with something until it eventually dies and it's all streaming.
Unless the next big thing is two guys who already have careers that get together on the weekends.
Yeah.
Start a podcast.
We did start this 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. But with that said,
says the shirt. Says that this is the special 10-year anniversary T-shirt that you can buy on the Sticker Mule Very Terrible Podcast store.
Yeah, go get yours today.
Get yours today. All you got to do is follow the QR code. I got to figure out a better way. Go to our Instagram page, follow the QR code.
Yeah, jump through.
You can order your own shirt.
Get this merch.
Oh,
do we want to talk about our merch sales, or is that
well, merch sales? We don't have any. Nobody's buying anything. I'm giving a lot away though. So
come on, Sister Spinner.
Look at this. Look at this. Beer koozies.
I almost want to place an order just to see what happens.
Yeah, me too. But look, I got beer sponsored by South Florida Lift Stations, as always.
Yeah, our buddy Josh.
Yeah, Josh coming through big time. We have can koozies, which are it's this, but for a can. And these are the bottle ones that came in. Now, I had to customize mine. They have a little zipper on them. I wasn't happy with the little zipper, but, beggars can't be choosers. So I put a big-ass broken Very Terrible Podcast key ring on it. And the key ring, the big part broke off, so I saved the ring. And here I go, being thrifty as a spinner will do. And then I got myself a easy way to go drink some cold beers.
You will be thrifty when you can be thrifty.
Yeah, if we can save a nickel to spend a dime. But what a time we had getting these things. Was I able to tell you the story about this whole thing?
I'm not sure if you told me the story about the specific koozies.
The company did a great job in the end. All right, so we had some hiccups, and what will happen with customer service and when you buy things, sometimes things go wrong. So we go in, and it's a very local company out of Fort Myers called Sally Productions, and Sally does embroidered shirts for the kids' schools, and they do all these promotional items. They do promotional items. So South Florida Lift Stations is actually working out a deal right now to get new shirts for the company and the employees. I go down there and I said, listen, I shopped around, and I've got, I'd say, a dozen different printing places and T-shirt places and all this other stuff. All my T-shirts come from Sticker Mule. Sticker Mule gives me the best price and the best quality. Go online, take a look. I mean, we have basically everything we've ever made is on the store. Decent prices, excellent quality. Dave, you've got a Very Terrible Podcast shirt.
Yeah.
It's a comfortable shirt.
Yeah, it's a good shirt.
They don't have the thing with the tag, So, but they don't make bottle koozies. So, in all fairness, shop around. For me, I have my own list of criteria that I like to hit. I want it to be, I want to keep it American made as possible, a local company if possible. I want to keep my dollars in the community. So I meet up with the people from Sally, and the customer service end of it was great. I had a young lady named Beth who was just on every one of my many, many phone calls of requests and speculations and things I wanted to do. And she actually came up with the color scheme because I had just, plain design, whatever. And she goes, if we spend a little bit more money, I can't remember the term, but there's something about like this material where the color this doesn't come off.
Is that like neoprene or something?
It's definitely a neoprene, and it's got subliminate or whatever the hell it's called, sublimate or some kind of a thing. And like there's no difference. Like I can't peel that off. It's just in it.
Embedded.
Yeah, it's in there. And so I said, well, we have Josh's logo, the South Florida Lift Stations logo that's on there. And then we have our 10-year anniversary logo that's on there, which simple, effective. It's been one of my favorites. She takes it, and now in Josh's logo, this is actually off to the side. It's very long and skinny. Works great on stickers and things like that he uses for his lift stations. She's like, give me a minute. She takes it, she cuts it in half, drags it up, drops it, does her magic. This comes out, and just a spectacular product. So I said, you know what? All right, let's go in. Give me 50 cans, 50 bottles. Okay, 50 cans, 50 bottles. And then there's like this radio silence. Like there's no communication with anybody. Like, hey, here's a tracking number. Here's where your order is, on and on and on. These are not exactly, I would not say they're cheap. They're cheap. They're cheaper than if I went to 7-Eleven and bought a bottle of koozie, but they're certainly not cheap. So a box shows up. The first box shows up, canned koozies. Beautiful. They're from Texas. They're just, they look good. They're all, I've got them behind me. I'm not going to go get one, but it's just a shorter version of this. They're excellent, right? Then a second box shows up. I'm excited. Oh, finally, the bottles are here. I open it up. It's 50 more cans. There's 50 more cans, and they're from China. And, buddy, I'm telling you, it smells like they poured liquid. It smells like they poured liquid plastic in a cardboard box and sealed it shut and mailed it. The stink was so bad on those 50, I had to put them outside. I put the whole fucking the box. I just put the whole box outside. I let it air out for 2 days before I brought it in the house. I don't know. It was made with whatever they do over there. It wasn't the best, but I contacted Beth. Hey, we had a little hiccup. Instead of 50 bottles and 50 cans, I've got now 100 cans and 0 bottles. So let me look into it. And, we go on. I do my thing. You know how this is going to end, right?
Oh, yeah.
I said,
Spinner's going to get one up on somebody.
I'm absolutely going to get one up on him. I said, well, unfortunately, I paid for 50 bottles and 50 cans, and I now have an extra 50 cans I can't even use. I can't use these. They're just, I might as well just throw them.
We have tens of fans, and we got
Tens of fans. The line for the bottles is where I was at. I really needed these bottles.
Yeah.
She makes it right. Out of Texas comes now 50 more bottles. So we have bottle koozies and koozies. I've got 150 units for the price of 100.
Yeah, and we needed 3.
We may need many more. That's what we're foreshadowing. And with the help of South Florida lift stations, we have enough money to get whatever we need. So
Between me and Bella and Lori as co-hosts, I don't even have
yeah, I know. Well, and the thing is, now I have custom mailing envelopes that I can put some in and mail to your house, or you could just come down and pick it up because you're that close.
Yeah, and now I need some custom, very terrible podcast Glencairn glasses for my bourbon.
I'm thinking that's it. We can do some laser engraving. I don't know who does laser engraving, but
We'll have to do it.
oh, I'm telling you, it's a brand that everybody needs to buy. I mean, everybody wished they got in on Howard when it was early. This is their opportunity.
Yeah. We're
For all
babies.
you people that weren't ready for Howard when they came through, and Russ Rollins when they came through with the Monsters. Did you ever hear Russ Rollins' story?
I don't think so. I never
Russ
really
Rollins,
got into
just
them
like
deep.
yeah, just like you and me, right? But he was in wrestling ahead of time, right? So he was big into wrestling and all this other stuff. And then he wanted to do radio, but nobody would pick him up. He's got a good voice. He's got a good spiel. And he paid for everything himself. He bought airtime on channels. He paid for his own T-shirts. He paid for his own swag. He paid his own people out of his own pocket. And he got his show up and running, and it became syndicated. So, I mean, he did it himself the same way we're doing it.
You remember I don't remember her name, but they had some bimbo chick on there that would go...
Savannah.
Savannah. Yep.
Now, he married Savannah for a while.
He married her for a while. That sounds interesting.
Yeah. They got married and got divorced. And then she's off the show, and then he ended up getting remarried again. It's hard. So the show is syndicated, I think, to your house. I think you can pick up 104.1 at your house.
Okay, does he,
And
is
I
he
can't
still
pick
on
it
the,
up.
on the radio?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's still on the radio right now. It's Real Talk 104.1.
Is it still
He-
Monsters in the Midday?
Yeah, because it used to be Monsters in the... No, it's Monsters in the Morning now.
Oh.
It used to be Monsters in the Midday. Now it's Monsters in the Morning. And, yeah, he's still on the show. Dirty Jim, I think, is gone. I think the other two older gentlemen either retired or passed away.
They had a few stunt guys when I was listening to it.
Yeah, there's one. There's one. There was a giant pain in the ass.
African American gentleman.
No. That is... He is still around. He's on 102.5 now in the background right now.
Oh, really?
Kevin, Soul Brother Kevin.
Soul Brother Kevin.
Soul Brother
Is that
Kevin.
him?
And
That's the same guy?
That's the same guy. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's Soul Brother Kevin. Gosh darn it. God, what is it? There was a guy's name. He was like the little goofy guy. When I was living up in Northport, they encased him in a coffin of concrete for 24 hours as a radio stunt.
Yeah, they would have him do all kind, like the Monster Show would always have some, poor bastard doing some stupid shit,
But yeah, what was his name? Because he is very disliked amongst all radio people, even to this day.
Oh.
Oh, gosh. What was his name? Well, now I'm not going to know it, and then I'll have to come up at a later point. But he was a skinny little weaselly guy. And yeah, he wasn't, because he was on a bunch of, he got fired from one show, he'd go to the next, he'd get fired from that show, go to the next, and all of a sudden he had just a bad name for himself, and nobody wanted him around. Oh.
It almost sounds like
Daniel Dennis was the good one. Daniel Dennis was Daniel Dennis's buddy. Oh, it's killing me. And as we do a live, or not so live, but a recorded show, it's going to just kill it. But yeah, Daniel Dennis is the good one. Daniel Dennis is still around. He's still on the show. Gosh darn it. I can see his face. I do not know his name.
Mike Calta doesn't like him, but like that Bubba Love Sponge from like 2003 to like 2005 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that was like peak radio to me.
It was. And you know what his downfall was? Besides the whole Hogan thing, was he got caught messing around with the ratings.
Yeah, he got and he would the thing is he would say the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
He would say, blah, 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 fire up the sheens. And he meant machines because they used Carney language from wrestling or whatever.
Yep.
So he was telling the guy on air to fire up the machines to screw up. I don't know how it worked or whatever, but it was some sort of like signal amplifier or whatever to screw up the ratings. But yeah, when they had Manson doing all their parody bits, and then they had, Manson would play the other character, Ned, which, really Manson was the most of the talent on the show, I would say. And then they had Spice Boy, Matt Lloyd, who was the one that actually eventually stole the Hogan sex tape or whatever.
Yeah, that was a whole weird thing, too.
Yeah, and then there was Brent, who was kind of like I wouldn't say he was the Artie Lang of that, because he wasn't more of a comedian, but he was, a co-host. He was pretty cool. And then who else did they have on there? Oh, they had some Lasker, who was this redneck that would come on there and do some crazy shit from time to time, kind of like stunts and stuff. And they were always going back and forth with, Mike Calta or MJ and fighting with somebody and some sort of lawsuits going on.
Oh, yeah. Bubba calls the Calta show every once in a while still.
Just to mess with him?
Yeah, and then just recently, Mike got in trouble at an event because Bubba's girlfriend showed up with like a cell phone and started like shove it in his face and stuff. So
I seen something about that. I don't follow that stuff that closely anymore. Like it's more. I only mainly just listen to podcasts anymore because Very Terrible Podcast has set the standard.
Absolutely.
So it's hard to listen to regular radio when we set the bar so high.
I can't believe anybody's even listening to regular radio anymore.
Can't believe anybody listens to anything else but this.
On repeat, because we don't do it enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like special, greatest hits all the time.
Yeah. No, it was basically, there was an event at a gun store, and Mike is meeting people and he's signing autographs and doing what he does, and then this woman walks up with a phone in his face and starts hollering and yelling at him, and they start having words, and things happen where he snatches the phone out of her hand, and then she claims assault and, yada, yada, yada. And by the time it was all said and done, he didn't do anything wrong. All the charges are dropped, but then, he's got to come back, and he was gone for like a month because of due process. It takes that long to get all these things through court. And there was a month of like, they can't talk about it. They can't mention it. They don't have to, so there was this big radio side. Everybody else was on the show trying to patch it all together, and it was difficult for everybody, but it all worked out in the end. But what a pain in the ass.
That's the thing with Mike, is he never really like leaned into the drama, where I think if he would have, it would have made better content. But
yeah,
I mean, ultimately, I mean, I guess he won. I think maybe
He's still here.
he's still doing radio.
He's still here. He's paying all the bills. He's got 7 refrigerators in his house.
7 refrigerators.
Yeah, he talks about it. There's 7 refrigerators in the house. He's got like he's very open. Like if you go on Google and look up Mike Calta, Lutz, Florida, you can get his address. You can look it up. You see the satellite image of his house. You can do all that. He doesn't care. He's like, this is where I live. That's where the show is from. COVID happened. They took the show out of the studio, and he's like, well, just build me a studio in the house, and I'll have everybody come to the house. So there's Carmen is left at the studio to run the board, and everybody else comes to his third bay of his garage that's been remade into a recording studio, and he does the show every morning out of his house. And then he does it. He goes, I don't care. Here's where I live. Here's this. He's like, I'm not hiding from anybody.
Yeah.
And it's nobody really cares, but
Well, he lives in
he's
a
not-
gated community, so I guess
yeah.
sure you don't have to be a member of the CIA to get through it, but
No. Yeah, is at the same token as how many do you really want? All right, so you're going to knock on his door, then what? But like he's really approachable. I mean, obviously you can call the show, you can talk to him. Just about every Monday he does a podcast with his wife called the Me and My Wife podcast, and you can go on the live chat and he'll like answers questions right out of the live chat. I've been on there a few times. I actually got myself by accident on the radio the other day.
by accident.
I did. I didn't even think it was a thing. I was getting ready to go to work, and on the 102.5 app, they have this thing called Open Mic. And it's a little button. You hit it, and it gives you 15 seconds. You want to send them a message? You hit the button, you talk for 15 seconds, it sends it to the radio station. I don't know what they do with it. I just want to say hi to everybody. So, and like iHeart has it, and a lot of the other radio stations have it. It's just like a thing. You can send them messages. Unbeknownst to me, at the same time that I'm half cocked on a few beers and I'm going to go get myself a haircut because that's how much I pay for haircuts, that I grab my phone, I hit Open Mic. This is, Lieutenant Jason Spinner of the fire department, burr, and I just go off. We listen to the Mike Calta show every morning. We start our day every morning with a cup of coffee and Mike Calta. And I do the whole radio, yuck radio voice that you like so much.
Oh yeah.
Unbeknownst to me, at the radio station at the time, they're having problems with the app. They use the app for a $1,000 giveaway 5 times a day, 8, 10, noon, 2, and 5. So they give away $1,000 5 times every weekday, and the app wasn't working. So the afternoon DJ, Drew Garabo, is on there, and he says, hey, go to the app, send me a message of what your app looks like when you do it. At the same time that I'm half cock drunk, sending in a message about how I listen to Mike Calta in the morning. So it goes on the air. Apparently they're like, all right, let's hit the next one. And it's Jason Spinner. We listen to Mike Calta. He's like, all right, thanks, Jason Spinner. And he goes on to the next thing. All right, so that happens. My phone starts dinging. The guys from my work that are listening to the channel said, why are you on the radio? I was like, what are you talking about? I'm on the radio. I said, I didn't realize I was going to be on the radio. I just sent in a message. I'd figure they'd throw it in the trash can.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
better.
radio's kind of low hanging fruit. If you're persistent, you can I don't listen to Mike all the time, but I know when he did, there was a guy called Tom the Tree Man.
Yeah, that's his tree guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy is horrible, and he's on the radio all the time.
Yeah. Tom the Tree Man. He helps out. He does all the yard work. And then, all of Mike's people that help him out all get special time. And then on another level, the FCC, because radio goes through the FCC, it has a filter where it listens to everything that comes across the airwaves. And it grabs anything that might be considered high risk,
Offensive.
not maybe terrorism, things of that nature. And because I said Cape Coral Fire Department on this little spiel, it clipped it and it sends it to the fire department. The PIO sends me an email, goes, what did you do? And she sends me the clip of me on the radio in the morning. I was like, I don't know. I was just wanted to say hi and be on the radio. So yeah, I got all kinds of people's attention, all sort of by accident.
Yeah, and you're a public service, not a company trying to sell anything.
I'm not. I'm just here for a good time.
Your supervisors are like, we just want to exist and not know anybody, not have any attention. And you're like, look at me over here. We're listening.
Well, do you follow the fire department on the Facebook page? Because every time that there's something to do, I'm on it.
Oh yeah, if there's a camera, you're accidentally running in front of it.
I'm telling you,
If
whether
there's
it
a
be by
microphone, you're for some reason getting on that side.
yeah, I'm the hey. No one's going to toot your own horn louder than you.
Yeah.
That is an absolute fact. So yeah, I had that. We had what came up this month. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so I definitely volunteered to do the video for that. We have upcoming the Cape Coral Animal Shelter and the Cape Coral Fire Department is going to team up with an adopting animals calendar that I'm going to be in.
Is
Why
Bugsy
not?
going to be in it?
He's already adopted. Wait a minute. I need to put animals that need homes.
He's a success story.
He is. He is a broken little chihuahua, but he already has a home, so he's doing just fine.
Yeah. Come adopt the next Bugsy.
Oh man, I'm telling you, he's the best little thing.
Yeah. We got
Well,
Molly.
What else you got, Dave? I mean, we're doing a great job. We are an hour and 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
We're always good for an hour, you and me.
Yeah. I told you're like, we'll do 20 minutes. I'm like, fuck that. We'll
Well,
do 1
and
to
here's
3
the next
hours.
thing. Let's take this discussion to the next level. All right, Mike runs a 4-hour show 5 days a week.
Yep.
I mean, granted, there's commercials and everything else in between, but I mean, how do you talk for 4 hours a day every day?
You could. I could.
We could figure it out.
Like
We
I
wouldn't be
spent
very.
10 minutes prepping for the show, and we got an hour through it. So
I guess so.
if you spent 1 hour prepping, you could do a 4-hour show.
Well, they do a segment for the news.
Yep.
They do trivia games in the morning.
And he's got Calvin
always have a
that
guest.
does what is it that he does some sort of song or where he talks about he does like a rant thing. Where he-
On Mike's show,
Yep.
it's Galvin.
Galvin.
His every Wednesday, and the replay is on Thursday, where he writes a letter.
Yep. Letter with
Yep.
Galvin.
Yep, a letter with Galvin. Yeah.
Yep. He does like a little rant. That's fun.
I love Galvin. I got to tell you, on the show, like Galvin's, like he doesn't communicate a whole lot. Like every once in a while, I got some information out of him when I want to send him all birthday cards or whatever. He gives me the address.
Yeah,
But
he likes trannies.
yeah, but he doesn't talk a whole lot. But he is really talented, and he doesn't want to be a host. And I think that's the most interesting part.
Didn't he get like a producer, or didn't he like get promoted above the show to be like the station something or other?
I don't know about that. He came out, like I said, he tells his story where he goes to different few stations, and he came from Kentucky and he came down to here, and he's been with Calta for like almost 15 or 18 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And but like hypothetically, so when Mike was out with the whole cell phone issue at the gun store, Galvin had to take over, and he was very adamant. He's like, yeah, I don't want to be a host. He goes, I like being. He does what you do. He has the laptop. He does all the fact checking. He gets all the facts straight, and he does that. And he does the news. He does all that, but he doesn't want to be the host. And I'm like, what an interesting dynamic where he's found that sweet spot where he's so comfortable that he just doesn't want to be the host. He likes being the number 2 guy.
Yeah, I mean you gotta have that solid number 2 guy. Like
Yeah.
Howard had Robin,
Yeah.
Bubba had Manson, MJ had BJ.
Yeah. Yeah.
Opie
You've
had
got
Anthony.
me. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would be very difficult to do the radio show by yourself,
Yeah.
where you don't have anybody to bounce anything off of. That would
Yep.
be like you're essentially just doing a 4-hour speech.
Yeah.
You're just ranting for 4 hours with, you might have callers, call in, and then, you might have people where they could go on social media and put, comments and stuff, and you could, interact with them that way. But, as far as being a single person host talking for 4 hours, you've got commercials.
right.
That's another thing is like terrestrial radio, you've got, over 4 hours, you might have, I'm guessing, an hour worth of commercials.
Yes.
There's a hell of a lot of commercials. And then some of the poor bastards have to play music.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. I
Yeah.
don't want to spin records.
Yeah, screw that. But Mike for a while was doing that when I was,
Yeah.
he would talk for 15, 20 minutes and then they played 2 or 3 songs and,
Yep.
I don't know if that's
Yeah, he worked
accurate.
for a country station. He's worked for a soft rock station. He's done everything. So, and that was like when he. The cool part is like in the mornings, I wake up at 5:30. I get B out of bed. I go there and at 6:00, I like to hear the intro because for me, the intro is the hardest part of the show. Like when the theme music plays and you got to go. It's May 24th, 2025. It's the Very Terrible Podcast. To me, that's the hardest part. So I like to listen to Mike and I listen and to basically mine is just me mimicking Mike because that's all Mike does.
See, and I'm the opposite. I listen to Joe Rogan now, and they just literally they start talking and they're like, "Hey Jamie, just hit fucking play," or and then usually you hear him like halfway through a sentence start the damn podcast,
Oh, that's awesome.
and the dude's making $100 million a year.
Yeah. I guess there's no wrong way to do it, but I really do. I really enjoy.
I think people
all the
just
stuff
want
I
to hear regular people have regular conversations.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't want to hear, they want to hear the news. They want to hear, the traffic, the weather, whatever. If, some sort of crazy 9/11 shit happens, people want to hear about that. But,
Yeah.
the other filler time is you get invested in these people's lives, and what they got going on. And they're an extension of your family almost.
They are. I mean, like I said, I'm not even joking. I send them like when it's their birthday. I send birthday cards. They don't give a crap about me, but I do. I'll send them birthday cards. I mean, because for me, they make my day. They make my day really good, and that's how I got into this whole thing with wanting to be in radio. I grew up on Howard. I came down here. I had the Monsters. Now I have Mike. It's a part of my day. It's what makes me happy. And I'm like, if I could give that to somebody else, that would be my purpose in life.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think this is the last generation that's going to have regular radio. The rest of it's
Sure.
gonna be-
Well, even what we're doing is not regular. I mean,
this is just amateur hour horse piss podcast.
it
but-
is. It is. It's every man in his mid 40s thinks he's going to make it.
I mean, there's a lot of podcasts, but to get on a podcast and actually do more than 5 episodes takes commitment.
Yeah.
And then to get on, and I think consistency. If I've seen anything with Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all this bullshit, it's all consistency. You just have to do it a lot, get a lot of reps, and get better at it. Build an audience, find a niche, and go for it.
Absolutely.
We just kind of, unfortunately, we just kind of talk about, what we got going on. But, if we really wanted to make it big, we would have had a podcast the day that the Pope died,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Popecast.
so you get on and you do an hour's worth of prep about, whatever he accomplished, whatever,
Yes.
His controversies, what he accomplished, what people liked about him, what they didn't like about him.
We would have grabbed it. We would have grabbed some hashtags that day.
Yeah. And then you put it on YouTube the day he dies, and then you get traction.
Yeah. Well, and then in a weird sense, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, because like I call the football games. I'm like, okay, I'm on a microphone. I'm doing something. Now someone is going to hear that and go, hey, I need that guy to go make me a commercial, or I need this guy to go talk about this. I don't even know. I'm
Yeah.
you put me out in a body of water that I'm not sure is salt or brackish or fresh, but I'm going to go fishing. I'm going to put a worm on a hook and I'm going to throw it out there and see who bites.
Yeah. I mean, the ambition is very low in most of the youth.
Yeah.
So if you just keep trying to do stuff, eventually somebody will be like, hey, I need somebody to do, this college football game.
Yes.
Maybe it's, lower college, division. And then you get in there and you're like, okay, I got some better equipment. I got some, actually I got some stats for the season. And,
Yeah. Well, and it's we have lower level colleges around us, and they all have sports. I can't believe the amount of sports that don't have announcers. Last night we went to the Oasis Sharks spring game. Now, Oasis doesn't have their own field, so we use what's called the Calusa Middle Field, which is a different district over.
Now, when you say Oasis, is this a middle school, high school, college?
Charter school of all grades and all everything. So from kindergarten to 12th grade, Oasis has Oasis Elementary, Middle, and High School.
Oh, so rich white people.
No, not really. To be honest with you, it was just you filled out an application, and if you're a city, if you live in the city and you can get it, then it's a city charter school. It's not public. It's not private. It's really cool.
Oh, is that where they get the funding from public to go to private?
It's
Subsidized or something.
It's weird. My regular taxes pay for the school. My kid happens to go to that school. Even if she didn't go, I'd still have to pay the taxes.
You know what really sucks is I pay for the damn taxes for the school, and I don't have any chitlins.
I know, isn't that great? But
no, it's not great. It's not great.
I think
I should be able to opt out.
Thank you for your donation.
Yeah, I'm educating the next generation, even though I didn't procreate.
They're busy stealing stuff off your trailer and out of your garbage.
Yeah, trying to steal my broken down TV on a spare lot that won't fit in my trash can.
There'd be melting copper in your yard.
Yeah.
So yeah, she gets into this charter school, which is in between, right? There's uniforms, which if you ever have a choice is the greatest thing ever. There's uniforms, but it's got like a lot of public school feel to it. There's all the social classes. There's all the education levels. There's, everywhere from Excel classes to special classes. Everything in between is there, but everybody's in uniform and everything is all uniformly handled across the board. Best of everything. They're not great with parking, but that was my biggest gripe. So they get enough money up to eventually get a football team. The football team doesn't have their own field, so they pay for and borrow another city field that they can play football on, which turns into a scheduling nightmare. But then they didn't have an announcer, and unbeknownst to me, nobody has announcers. So this thing comes across Facebook. Lori finds it and goes, "Hey, you like being on a camera and a microphone? Maybe you'll want to do this." It says Oasis Sharks, on and on, announcing football. Me and two other dads put in for it. The two other dads, one was disinterested. He's like, I only did because no one was going to do it. He drops out. The other one's like, well, I got a work trip and I got this and I got that. And I'm like, buddy, I work 9 days a month. I'm going to be there every day, all day long. So we go through and we get to the first game, and I absolutely spinner the piss out of this thing. I show up with 3 sets of 3 ring binders, 1 inch apiece, laminated pages, rosters, histories, announcements for before and after game, in-game commercials. I got a set. I said, please point me to the microphone. We get up there, and it was me and then the guy who does music. The guy who does music does a fantastic job, and he had to reluctantly call the games, and he's like, I just say things. I'm like, no, there's a rhythm to this. We watch the play, we call the play. We watch the play, we call the play. If they take a timeout, we do a commercial. I had it all just ready to go. So it was annoying to them at first. Here's the guy with the binders. What a nerd. Burr, 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 burr. I said, stand back. Got this. I mean, it was fun. I took my phone up. There's been a couple times I put my phone on there on the Facebook Live. And I'll just make a Facebook Live of it as I'm doing it because there's no live streaming.
Yeah, you usually go in there and spam some comments and then jump out.
Oh, man. What a great time, though. It's a hell of a good time. My buddy Gary is really great at the music. He's got the music for the dance team, the cheer team, everybody else, and he does a fantastic job, but he hates being on a microphone. I love being on a microphone. I can't do music. We're a great team. And we get up there, and it's just fantastic. And I get to hear myself over hundreds and hundreds of people who are here to watch football.
Yeah.
I tell them, I said, they're here for me. There happens to be a football game on.
Yeah. Do you ever drop in hey, while you're doing nothing, listen to the Very Terrible Podcast on Spotify?
No, I'm really careful about what I do and don't say, and I have a very good
relationship. What, are they going to fire you and let Gary take back over?
No, but that's the thing, right? So it's funny you mentioned that because I have a very good relationship with the athletic director to the point of where he called me and he said, hey, spring game is, which would have been yesterday. And he's like, would you like to be a guest and you can come stand with me on the sideline? I'm like, yeah. So I got to be on the sideline with the players in the middle of, watching the game and stuff as it happens. But we're at Cape Coral High School, no announcer. again, no announcer. And then one of my buddies who at the fire department, he's got a kid on Cape Coral High School. He's like, yeah, we never have an announcer. I'm like, how many schools don't have an announcer? Are you freaking kidding me? This can't be a thing. So come to find out, there's a huge market for it. So if you're bored, Dave, you want to come on down and announce some football games. There's a lot of schools down here that need some help.
I'm not sure I'd be a great announcer. I think I could do like we could do a 3-hour podcast and we'll make it happen. But as far as like paying attention and like, oh, Johnny ran 3 yards and it is now third down, I would be screwing up what down it is, how many yards there is to go.
So what we do is we get a couple of the other dads. And once again, everybody seems to be either camera shy or microphone shy. I said, hey, come on up. I have the only air conditioning in the entire place. It's a little 20-foot by 10-foot, like, up a 2 stories high booth, and it has air conditioning. I go, it's 150 degrees outside. Come in here with the air conditioning. I have extra binoculars. You just tell me my eyes aren't great. So you give me the numbers. I have the rosters in front of me, and I can make it up as I go. So 4-yard run by number 2, tackled by number 57, 3rd and 6, Oasis, and then off we go.
Yeah, see, you lost me at the Oasis. See, I am not a performer. I'm not going to do
you got it, buddy.
Voice.
Hey, it's a brand that
Oasis
everybody
Owls
needs to buy.
are coming in hot today.
I had a good one. I started with it. So and you can steal, obviously, because there's no licensing rights to anything. But have you ever heard the what LSU does? It's called Saturday Night in Death Valley.
Is that like a chant or something?
It's not. It's the announcer gets on and he does this whole thing where he's like, it's a pantheon of concrete and steel, and he talks about the stadium and he's like, the chance of rain is never, and the whole crowd goes never, and it's really cool. So I kind of remade that for Oasis. It's Friday Night in Death Valley, or Friday Night in the Shark Tank. So I
now,
remade
do you do
that
live, perform it live, or
Yeah.
do you pre-record it and just
No, I just do it live.
hit the button on your board on the?
I know there's no board.
There's
no board. There's an on-off switch for a crusty old microphone, is what there is. And
Oh, jeez, you gotta plug in your board.
Well, Gary did a good job. Gary, if he brings his DJ equipment, he'll patch his DJ equipment in. He brings his own speakers, and we just use his DJ equipment, which is nice. It's wireless mics.
But you could do your little spiel there and have it saved on a board so you can drink some Diet Coke and.
Yeah, I Papa Bear Bill O'Reilly. We'll just do it live.
Yeah, you're gonna.
And then we had one because like Gary will get on there, and you never know when the high school kids are going to run out of it. They don't have a tunnel. They have like this little paper thing they run through, like a flag.
Yeah.
They run through it. So like the cheerleaders are out there, and they all make this big tunnel with human bodies. And then so Gary starts with the Jaws theme because they're the sharks. It's like da, 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 da. And then like all of a sudden they're not running. So Gary has like this little rickety like a frickin'. It's a frickin'. And we start all over. And I saw they were going running. I grabbed the microphone. I go, ladies and gentlemen, there's blood in the water. Bring out the sharks. And then they run out the tunnel. And I'm like, that works. We're reusing that for next year.
Yeah, so somebody's like, I'm offended you were used the word blood.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure everybody's offended by everything.
Those mammals identify as
Yeah. Yeah, they're not sharks.
Oh man, but no, it's really good. And then I went to I tried it. Like I go to some of the away games because I want to hear what everybody else is doing. And that's my thing is like you can only get better by feeding off of other people. And then they have one school, they have what's called dollar shout outs. And they charge $1, you fill out a paper, and within reason, the announcer reads it. And I told so we have what's called the Oasis Family Foundation, and the foundation they pay for all these events for the kids and special stuff for the kids. So if you donate and you're part of the foundation, you get all these special like T-shirts and all this other shit. So I told them, I said, hey, I went to this game and they have what's called dollar shout outs. I'll do that. All the dollars will go to the foundation. I'll go through and I'll read their stupid things. And obviously, because they're kids and I'm sure they're going to write all kinds of horrible things on the paper, I've got to clean it up. But like the big announcement thing for me is senior day. They give them a page, and the page is like this questionnaire. My job as the announcer is to read the questionnaire as the senior walks out with their family across the football field They get flowers, they take pictures, they senior day, yada yada, hugs, pictures, and off they go. Every year they tell them, and every year they screw it up. These young men get in there and they write horribly offensive things on the paper. So every year I sit with the athletic director and I go, how do you want me to handle this? Do you want me to hand it back to the kids? Do you want me to clean it up for them? I'm like, some of these kids are actually going to go to real colleges, and I'd rather their scouts not see this, what they wrote on the paper. It's really, some of them are bad. Like, they had one young man, let's see, they had a senior quote section. In the game of football, you give it everything you've got. Hang on a second. Let me see if I get this right. In the game of football, you give it all. Right. In the game of football, 3 inches is a lot. So if 3 inches is all you've got, or something, give it all you've got. And I'm like, I can't read this online because it's about his penis. I said, I can't read this.
Yeah.
And he's like, give me that kid's name. I'm like, I'm not going to give you the kid's name because he's just going to get in trouble. Just tell me how you want me to clean it up. He's like, don't say that. I'm like, so I got to go through and clean it all up, take out the F words. They all make up fake colleges they're going to.
Oh.
I'm going to McDonald's College. I'm like, oh, that's not a real college. I'm not saying that over the speakers. Like, it's ridiculous.
Oh, there's no verification in this process.
Oh, Hamburger University was like, 3 of the kids put down Hamburger University to study McDonald's restaurant running. And I'm like, no. And the pisser is, Hamburger University is a real place. It is a real McDonald's college. None of them were going there.
David Ayers, the 3rd string nose tackle, he's skipping college and going straight to the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. No, they have a couple of the kids, they weren't going to go to college. They're going to go to Votech. Some of them go to the military. A lot of one of the kids was going to Ohio State. I'm like, whoa. And so you have to do with Ohio State, you have to go, the OH, and then the crowd goes, IO, and then I go, Ohio State University. So you got to yuck radio voice your way through it.
Yeah. See, that's where I'd be out.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. How about this? Next season, you come. There's only 3 home games next season because we're losing something happening with the field and the scheduling. So we only have 3 home games next year. Be a special guest. You can come down and watch it happen live.
Yeah,
see what you
give
think.
me a couple days' notice. As long as I'm not traveling, I'll go.
All right. It sounds good.
I'll come up and hang out with you and Gary, or what was his name?
Yeah, me and Gary, an angry official usually, whoever the official is that runs the clock and has the headset that talks to the other officials on the field, is usually a disgruntled elderly gentleman. And it doesn't matter which one they switch out. It's always a disgruntled, angry older gentleman. And he's mad because the clock doesn't work right, and he's mad because the headsets don't work right. And then I have to, because that's what it is. Like, these penalties will happen, and you can't tell by looking at it. I have to announce what happens on the penalty. So I'll take the microphone, and I'll tuck it into my back because it's so sensitive. It can hear everything. So I'm like, all right, what do you got? And then he'll say, what the hell is it? They say an illegal offensive shift, 5-yard penalty. So I go, okay, flag on the field, illegal offensive shift, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down, whatever dumb school it is,
Yeah.
And then we just go from there. But no, it's so much fun. And they went through and they were talking about, we could, we might be able to put you on a payroll. I'm like, no, I don't want money for this. I'd pay you money for me to do this. This is so much fun.
We can't get anybody to do this, and you won't even take payment.
Yeah, nope. I would pay them to let me do it. It is a hell of a good time.
So they only have 3 home games this year?
Yeah, there's only 3 home games this year. A lot of it's away games. Some of them, the away team doesn't have an announcer, and they'll let me know. Like, I got to call a game once at Bishop Verot. So do you know of that school?
Sounds familiar. I think we played them like when I was in Pop Warner.
Yeah, Bishop Verot is a very affluent, like very upper end echelon school. So we got to use their field for a playoff game. And because Bishop wasn't in the playoff game, they didn't send any of their people. They had a 3-story air-conditioned tower along the field. The bottom floor was just for regular media, newspapers and all of the others. Second story was for the television channel that they run throughout the school. There's TV cameras and all this other shit. I walked in, I'm like opening doors going, dear Lord, the amount of money. It's artificial turf. It's absolutely perfect all the way around. And then the top story is the audio calling the games. Top shelf. I mean, Bose, everything. I mean, they're just top dollar. I touch screen everything. I went, I have a rusty on-off switch at my stadium.
Yeah.
This sucks.
With your laminated to-do list.
Oh my God. But it was absolutely awesome. So that was a great time too. But every once in a while you get wrapped up and they're like, hey, we've got nobody. I'm your guy.
I'm your guy.
I am the guy.
So,
Oh. Well, I tell you what, let's play some commercials to pay the bills and then we can wrap it up.
sounds good to me.
All right. I'm not going to mute you because every time I mute you, things get screwed up.
All right.
All right. This episode of the Very Terrible Podcast is brought to you by South Florida Lift Stations. For all your lift station sales, service, and maintenance needs, call Josh at 239-707-3603. South Florida Lift Stations, the official sponsor of the Very Terrible Podcast. The Very Terrible Podcast can be found on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, YouTube, and wherever you get your favorite podcasts. If you'd like to be a sponsor of the Very Terrible Podcast, you can message us on Facebook, Instagram, or email us at jdvtpodcast@gmail.com. I tried to put the schedule up there. It was all fuzzy. I couldn't read it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I was like, I'll just put that on the screen and it'll look good. And it did not look
Yeah,
good
why
at
don't
all.
you give the fans the dates of the home games, so if they're hankering for some more of the
Yeah.
spinner voice, they can get their fix.
Instead of having to hit replay on our shows over and over and over again.
Yeah, I know those views are just in the
Piling up.
tens of thousands.
All right, we've got September 12th, September 26th, and October 17th.
October sounds like the better pick for as far as not being Satan's taint of weather.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you join me, you'll be in the air conditioning. Unfortunately, the lightning delays are the Achilles heel of this whole system.
There's a lot of players, you can replace them.
Yeah. Okay. So on September 12th, it'll be the USA theme, which everyone will dress in red, white, and blue. September 26th will be the Western theme night, which is never a good idea. I don't like it, but they do it anyway. And October 17th is Pink Out for breast cancer and the backyard brawl against Ida Baker.
Ida Baker?
Yeah.
What's Ida Baker?
Ida Baker is the next school district over. So, and the funny part is Oasis and Ida Baker share a border. Like
Was that their rival?
Districts. Yeah, that's their rival. And they have this really beautiful trophy. I don't know who the hell bought the trophy. The damn thing looks like a professional, like glass, like trophy that could break if they dropped it.
That's the Ida Baker Bowl.
Yeah, something like that. But Ida Baker's got like a real nice stadium too. But like once again, like they had a shitty announcer and they had like crap speakers and it was amateur hours. It was really rough.
So they get feisty and fight and get rowdy?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. But Oasis had the better team last year, so they were able to take the win.
Yeah, I went to DeSoto High School, and our rival was Hardy. I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was Hardy. Yeah,
Hardy County?
They one of us killed a pig and threw it on the other one's doorstep or some stupidness, and I don't know. I didn't really I attended the high school, but I was closer to Port Charlotte, so I worked in Port Charlotte and didn't really, affiliate myself with the DeSoto folk.
Yeah.
I think I went to one or two football games my entire time in high school.
I have a really cool story, I think. Where the hell is Hardy County at?
Hardy's inland, north of DeSoto, I believe.
Damn it. Hendry County. Oh. We got wrapped up. I don't know if we still have time for a story. I guess we still have time for a story.
I think I should do.
Lori finds this really cool online store to buy purses and shoes or whatever. And it's like an online store, but you can go to the location, which is in the middle of the ass end of Alva. So from our house to drive to the ass end of Alva is an hour and 15 minutes. The cool thing about Florida, for the people that don't know, you can go into the asshole of city of Cape Coral, drive an hour and 15 minutes and be in the country. An entirely different state by all measures and metrics. We get out there and just beautiful. I mean, acres and acre lots at a time. Beautiful homes one after the other. And we pull up to this property where it's a nice house with a little shed next to it. And the shed is the store, the physical brick and mortar store, with a farm behind it. This farm there's like just chickens walking in their front yard. There's no fences. There's just chickens. Fucking chickens are just running around everywhere. There's kangaroos, and there's goats, and there's raccoons, and there's just it's this festival of animals. And I'm like, I am just intrigued. The girls go in and go shopping. I'm like, this is freaking amazing. A goose comes over and it's a turkey. A turkey comes over and is like pecking at my leg. I'm like, this is great. We walk in, and I talk to this young lady who's running this store. And for the life of me, I will have to have the name of the store so we can advertise for it. The girls go in and they go shopping. And this lovely young woman who is sitting there telling me her story about how her husband and her started with just this piece of property. Got the animals, get the house, do this thing. She was selling online, so on and so forth. And then kind of like almost like interviewing her with her history. She's like, well, I get the, because my family is the Hendry family of the blah, blah, blah. I go, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you're the Hendry family? She goes, we're in Hendry County. I go, yeah. She goes, yeah, that's my family. I'm like, what? Her great grandfather was the Hendry that settled the state. And because of that, she was able to get into like college for free and does all this discounts, and her taxation is different and all this stuff. There's like a bloodline thing that she gets. She is Henry of Henry County. I'm like, this is the coolest story I've ever heard in my life. I could have talked to her for hours.
See, you got to get her on the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She was, I probably could too. She has a very humble little, just a humble little shop, a beautiful piece of property. She was so kind, and she let us in to go and see the animals, and Bella we got to sit there and watch her feed the birds and feed the chickens, and they fed the goats, and then there's kangaroos, and there's I could have sat there for hours asking her, how'd you get this animal? How do you keep this animal? How do you feed it? What about this animal? And all this other stuff. Because every one of them, has to have some kind of a weird license and a something or another. And then they're right next to the Caloosahatchee River. And I asked them, I said, okay, you were here for Hurricane Ian. How much water? Apparently on that side of the river, they didn't even get flooded. I was like, this place is like heaven. It's country. You're out there. It was cool because there were so many shade trees. You didn't feel the summer heat. To me, it reminded me a lot of the stories like you had grown up out in the middle of Arcadia. It was country.
Yeah.
There was none of this stuff that we have now.
I wouldn't say my childhood was beautiful, but,
We could tell the listeners.
Yeah, that might be maybe that's a whole nother 3-hour podcast.
Yeah.
But essentially it was, trailer parks and, a lot of bad stories, but, it was.
But not city life.
No.
You were far from city life.
No, yeah, it's down by the Navigator, if anybody's local, down Kings Highway heading towards Arcadia. So, yep, you go out there, take a right down Peace River Street, and, I lived in that trailer park that was right there on the right-hand side. So, we lived on the street was called Crenshaw, and we called ourselves the Crenshaw Cockroaches.
Oh, my.
Kept it classy.
That was your nickname? You gave yourself that nickname?
Yeah, because we were so highfalutin, we called ourselves the Crenshaw Cockroaches. Yeah. But I would imagine, when you're a kid, you're kind of oblivious to, what's really going on. But now looking back,
absolutely,
I would imagine there was a little bit of methamphetamine maybe into the neighborhood. There was a lot of poverty, but we moved up from a single wide to a modular mobile home.
That was the same thing with me. We started a single wide. We went to a double wide. We were fancy.
Yeah. We went from a single wide to a double wide to a modular.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And then at the end of high school, we were there. I think we had like 2.5 acres, which I thought was cool at first. And I realized we were poor, and then we had to mow the grass with a 14-inch lawnmower.
Mm-hmm.
That was, non-self-propelled $99 jobby from Walmart.
I have the same one right now in my garage.
Yeah, I bet you do.
I really do. I don't do the self-propelled. Lori's asked me for years, but I don't do the self-propelled.
My mother-in-law bought us the Honda self-propelled fancy push lawnmower, but I just pay somebody to mow the grass because it's just a waste. Unless if I had like some spare time, I would mow the grass, but it's just not.
No, spare time is not what you have a bunch of.
No. At first, I was like, I gotta pay somebody $100 to mow the grass. Now, that's the best $100 I spent in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Other
You and
than
me both, buddy.
I like my lawn guy, but that dude, he is a menace with his damn weed whacker. He destroys everything. One day I'm like, do you have a vendetta against my house? Like, and his dad, I had a big American flag pole in the front yard, and I've got cameras all around my house. I got once you pay for the Ring deal, like it's unlimited storage and video for, I don't know if I'm on like some older plan, but it's cheap, like stupidly cheap for the amount. It's like $20 a month, and you get security, camera storage, and it's unlimited cameras. So I'm like, cameras are $100, $200. I'll put cameras all around this sucker. So I had a camera in the front yard, and you could see him friggin' schwack the flagpole. It falls down and hits my truck.
Huh.
And you could see him go over there and grab it and pull it off my truck.
Did you make him watch the video?
Yeah. And I was like, dude, the flagpole hit my truck. He's like, no, it didn't. I was like, here's the video of the flagpole hitting my truck.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, let me call my son. I didn't go full Karen. I was like, hey, dude, shit happens. I don't care.
Yeah.
I was a little,
Just don't bullshit me and let's make it right.
just if you hit something, you break something, just tell me. We'll figure it out, dude. I'm not getting rid of you. You show up most of the time. He's a good old boy. So, I used to mow lawns for a living. It's funny. My stepdad had a lawn mowing business growing up, and my biological father had a lawn mowing business growing up. So it didn't matter what weekend I had. My ass was free labor out there, weed whacking or, got the blower blowing off the yard. So I didn't get to go do a lot of playing around as a kid. I was more free labor.
Jeepers.
So even to this day, because I was an idiot and I didn't, most of the time I was weed whacking flip-flops. Both my legs are literal tattooed from rocks and sand.
Yeah, you got chunks out of your skin, I bet you.
If you ever look at my ankles, like they're like almost black from just tattooed from dirt.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I've never gotten to your ankles yet.
Oh, wait till you get
All
there,
looking at you, I do. Don't involve your ankles.
Yeah. We haven't had that kind of party yet.
No.
One day.
One day, buddy. Hey, I found it. So it's not that you're going to be able to tell by looking at it. It's called Caloosahatchee Couture.
Couture.
Yeah. Caloosahatchee Couture.
Isn't there another Couture in Fort Myers? Like,
I don't know. That was old Randy, what's his face's fight shirt company.
Yeah, no, there's a clothing company in Fort Myers called something Couture. If Lori was on, she would be like, oh, yeah, it's blah, 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 Couture.
Yeah.
Where's she when we need her?
No, she's nowhere around.
Oh, no.
She was sitting in the pool when the show started. The sun is down. She is probably watching TV on the couch. Not interested. And then tomorrow she'll probably do a show with me, but.
Yeah, we gotta get some.
And the thing is, like, I could slide. Well, I might be able to slide over a little bit and then get her, like, right about here. I guess we could put our heads together, or you know what? Actually, I could bring her in on her phone, and she could sit in the bedroom and do it, and then we could get our money's worth out of this Riverside subscription.
Yeah, the Riverside thing seems to be the ticket.
So far, so good. I've got some editing ahead of me, which will probably be done tomorrow morning. I don't think I'm going to do it tonight. It's, 9:50? Ugh. It's old man bedtime.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've hit a good point to end this, Bad Larry.
Dave, solid job as always, buddy.
An hour and 50 minutes.
An hour and 50 minutes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for an hour and 50 minutes. I'm Jason.
And I'm David.
And it has been yet another very terrible podcast.